Welcome, everybody, to Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast Mini. Today's topic is, everyone's been asking us to talk about it. We're a little bit late to the party, but we're going to be talking about the nuclear pipe bomb promo from MJF over on AEW. Steve, before we get this ball rolling, anything you want to say?
I just want to get into it. Let's go.
All right, let's get into it. We had probably one of the most memorable promos in professional wrestling history, and it did not happen in the WWE, which I think is something of note. I will tell you, I watched the promo after the fact. I had goosebumps, a smile from ear to ear, and I'm a little bit speechless, but I think it was an absolutely fantastic promo. And by the way, folks, this is a work. First,
hold on. Before you get into it, Santi, I am sitting here thinking about it, and I have goosebumps right now. I am mind blown that if this, and I'm with you on this, if this is a work, holy hell. Tony Khan has literally become a potential creative genius right now, allowing MJF to say the certain things that he said. And we can get into it. But, wow. I sat there, I was watching Dynamite, and I'm like, my mouth, I felt it opening slower and slower and slower. I was messaging you. I'm like, you weren't watching it live. I'm messaging you. I'm like, dude, you guys believe what MJF just said. Dude, what a promo. What a promo. Like, this is going top 3 of all time.
So let me read a couple of quotes. Don't ask him to reach into his pockets and pay the man that's been busting his ass for him since day one. No. Make sure he hoards all that money. Make sure he hoards all that money so that he can make sure and give it to all the new ex-WWE guys he keeps bringing in that can't lace my goddamn boots.
Can we talk about the main part of that? They referenced WWE. It's not like they're referencing Ring of Honor or TNA. They are referencing the direct competition where there could have been a lawsuit filed because of that reference. That's the first one. That's like Tony Khan saying, fuck it, I don't care.
Immediately right after that, he doubles down. Hey, boss, would you treat me better if I was an ex-WWE guy? Now, from a fan perspective, right, I'd say that one of the reasons Stone Cold Steve Austin got so over in the Attitude Era was because he was the anti-establishment, fuck your boss, right?
Yep.
He was living every American's dream of being able to stick it to the boss, right? Yep. This is that personified in words, in nuclear words, because it doesn't stop there, Steve. The promo does not stop there. Don't count me down, you piece of shit. You shut your mouth, he says to a fan. Tony, look at me.
No, hold on. That wasn't to a fan. That was to the producer at ringside, counting him down, saying, you have this much time left.
Don't count me down. Not a fan. That's right. You're right. You shut your mouth. Tony, look at me. Look at me. I want you to fire me. You fucking Mark. Fire me. Fire me. Fire me. Beautiful words. Absolutely beautiful words from an angry employee. Now, Steve, let's get to part of what I want to discuss is this a work or is this a genuine shoot? Because as of the recording of this video, MJF has been removed from any sort of reference on AEW websites, any AEW related merch stores. And it seems that AEW has cut ties with MJF without making any sort of formal announcements. So, I think it's a work, and we can talk a little bit about this. What do you think?
Santi, I will tell you right now, I was under the impression that this was a shoot up until I saw the fan released video of what happened shortly after that. Now, before we get into that, the staff at AEW do not know if this is a work or a shoot. It has come out. Wrestlers didn't know what was going on. Even CM Punk came out, and this is the fan recorded video. MJF left through the crowd. He did not go through backstage. But what got me was the fact the chair was placed perfectly for MJF to step over the barricade. You know how instead of pushing it open, there was a chair perfectly placed in the corner for him to go over. The second I saw that, I said, this is a work. This is 100% a work. That is what ruined it for me. Like, Punk coming out, okay, what are you doing, man? Like, cool. It could have been part of the shoot. Punk not being in on it and wanting to be involved and being like, dude, you're an asshole. What the hell is that? Respect your boss, right? But the second I saw the chair in the corner, I'm like, that's too obvious.
Okay.
That is.
Yeah, I mean, chair regardless or not, I mean, it's a work because this man's contract expires in 2024. All right. If you think that there's genuine heat, you don't put a fucking mic in their hands. All right. If you know you have a disgruntled employee, you're not going to give them a mic in their hands and a prominent spot on national television with like 10 minutes of talking airtime. That would just be ludicrous. All right. 2, what better way to sell that this is not a work than by doing something as simple as removing him from a website? Like, I think people are reading too much into that until there's a proper statement that MJF is gone, he's fired, and there's a proper statement from him that he's cut ties with AEW. This is a work. This is absolutely 100% a work. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I don't want to be the Wizard of Oz in destroying like the facade, right? Like, I'm a wrestling fan, so like but also I guess a podcaster commentator, so I'm seeing it from both. The fan side, this is awesome. I love this. Please give us more. And I want them to keep running with this and turn this into some quasi Montreal screw job type situation. And obviously, like the analytical wrestling Mark loser in me is like, this is obviously a work. So I have to look at him from both angles. But either way, even though I'm saying it's a work, this is bloody brilliant. Absolutely fantastic stuff from AEW.
Absolutely, like they have drawn my attention to, I need to watch Dynamite next week. I need to watch Rampage next week. Normally I just watch the highlights, but I was just lucky that I was watching it and I want to see more. If this is a work, which we both think it is, damn, Tony, you have just upped your stocks tenfold. And if you are not paying MJF the money he says you're not paying him, pay the man, because he just made your company. I'm not saying it wasn't relevant, but this is potentially the best story in pro wrestling right now. And MJF is doing very good Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens work by carrying it by himself.
Hey, I'm just saying the story, the feud that really put WWE on the map was not a wrestler versus a wrestler. It was Stone Cold versus the boss, Vince McMahon. Tony Khan is a very incredibly unlikable person, in my opinion. I think he has a very punchable face. His voice makes me want to vomit. Everyone is going to get behind MJF. All right. If we can get Tony Khan getting physical and getting his ass beat by MJF, this will go bonkers. This will be a phenomenal storyline, and talk about cementing your young talent as a true, genuine cornerstone of your business.
Yep.
I hope Tony Khan's game, because I think from here on out, he's going to need to become an on-screen character the way that Vince was forced to become an on-screen character after the Montreal Screwjob. And he's going to need to start taking some bumps if he really wants to take this to the next level. But Steve, I want to ask you, This is a fantastic shoot nuclear heat pipe bomb. Any other pipe bombs or unbelievable shoot promos that come to mind when you hear this? Of course, I'm sure it's the CM Punk one is running through your head.
That's the first one that comes to mind, but I think that's the first one that comes to everyone's mind. AJ Lee on the entire Divas locker room. That was, for me, I still put that up there in the top 5. I think that was great. I think of when Brett rushed the announce table with the entire Hart Foundation, and this was before we got Mr. McMahon and the Montreal Screwjob. I can't remember who was wrestling in the ring, but there was a match going on, and Brett got physical with Vince. I'm gonna call that a shoot because it was great, and we had never seen it. We didn't know what was going on. There was no microphone, but that was great.
The one night stand. The Paul Heyman one. The only reason that you're world champion was because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays. I'm also thinking John Cena when he came out as Doctor of Thugonomics and just shoot it on the Rock before their WrestleMania 28 match, getting real deep and real personal with some of the things that he said.
Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah. There's some real good stuff out there. Honestly, I think it'll go down either this or Punk as the shoot promos that blurred the line that made everybody go, whoa.
Yeah.
What the hell just happened?
Reality, like script thrown out the window, and we're walking into reality here. Yeah. We're walking into real life.
You're saying the word reality. The Punk promo is what started the quote unquote the reality era of WWE. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying?
No, I'm just saying the realism in pro wrestling. Everyone says, "Oh, it's fake. It's fake." Yes, we know. But so is watching Peaky Blinders and Yellowstone. But people still go off on it and talk about it day in and day out. But at the end of the day, we are going to talk about this promo for the next 20 years. Maybe 30, maybe 40. MJF has just solidified himself in pro wrestling history, and I'm completely fine in the way he's done it.
Yeah. Something else that I'll add is, Steve, I'm not sure how much wrestling you were watching at the time of the CM Punk pipe bomb. That's when I came back to professional wrestling. And let me tell you, professional wrestling before that was a desolate wasteland.
Yes.
The pay-per-view before that, guys, was Capital Punishment, where the main event was R-Truth versus John Cena. Like, these are the types of feuds that we were getting. The CM Punk promo brought wrestling out of this desolate wasteland that it was in. That was the end of the PG era, and brought it into the reality era, as they call it, where there were acknowledgments of feuds on social media and Twitter and whatnot. CM Punk started that. Like, that's what started it. And of course, that was honestly a huge turning point for WWE in terms of the type of talent that they began to put over, because they started putting over the Punks of the world, the Daniel Bryans, right? I'm very curious if this is going to create a catalyst in AEW for some sort of change. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if it needs any sort of change fundamentally across the organization, because AEW is much hotter than WWE was at the time of the Punk promo. But it's promos like these that keep people talking and wondering, was it real? Was it not? These are era-defining moments in wrestling.
Santi, the one thing you and I have been screaming from the rafters since we started really getting into AEW. Yes, you and I are both more major WWE guys, but we love pro wrestling. The one thing we've been saying is creatively, storyline-wise, they haven't had it. They haven't done well with their storylines at all. This is the shift in the foundation that AEW needs to do good creative. If they can hit the mark on this and run with it for the next 6 months, maybe a year, I don't care if they feud. If MJF
keep
feuds
MJF
with Tony
off
Khan
for 2 months,
and go with this, we are going to see better creative coming from AEW, and then we start seeing real competition for WWE. Once they get their creative down, oh buddy, it's we're off to the races. We're
Hey,
off to the races.
last thing I'll say before we wrap it up here. This is the most buzz AEW has ever received, and they did need an ex-WWE guy to do it.
Exactly.
Okay? They did not need an ex-WWE guy to do it. They have an amazing, overbloated talent pool right now. And it's overbloated because of all the ex-WWE guys that they're taking in. They had gems in there all along. MJF being one of them. Use them. Use them. Steve, that's where we'll leave it off. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel with notifications on. Steve, any final words here?
Hey, man, just don't ruin this storyline, guys. Don't ruin this. And let us know in the comments what you think. Shoot or work.
Take care, everybody.